Radio Grade 12s. It's again time to discuss your practical assessment tasks for engineering, graphics, and design, and we're discussing the civil uh, project. Now, those of you who've watched my previous videos, you'll know that we've gone in depth through all of this content. We're scrolling down. We've had a look at the civil site plan for your project where you have to design the two mirror homes on either side. And we have then discussed in detail the design brief. We've looked at your research, and I've also helped you to actually come up with your freehand drawings as well as the best solution. So that was all the previous videos. Please have a look. If you've missed that, it will be very helpful. But for this video today, we are going to zoom in on the phase 2 presentation requirements. And what you will note here, there's a couple of lines drawn in red, and that's because some of the requirements has fallen away because of the lockdown, and I'm going to just eliminate those for you. So let's get started. Once you have your best solution, once you've selected it according to the criteria stipulated in the document here, using your table, etc., you will have to come up with a set of working drawings. Now, a set of working drawings, that really is drawings that can be used by a contractor to, in the end, build these homes. So it's going to be of a high standard. The advantage here is that this pictorial drawing that was required initially, that's no longer a requirement. That's a 2-point perspective. So 5.3 you can scratch out. That's not going to be a requirement anymore. What criteria is still applicable? Let's look. All the working drawings, in other words, your floor plan, your site plan, your elevation, must be presented on an appropriately sized drawing sheet. Ladies and gentlemen, that is A3 paper at least. Set up with the correct borders. In other words, each one of these papers needs a border, and this is important. Only the first working drawing. An example, either 5.1.1, which would be your number. Please remember this number 5.1.1 must be the number of your floor plan. Must be set up with a complete civil title panel. Remember, this is the minimum requirement, and they're only asking for the first drawing to have a full civil title panel. I'll do an in-depth discussion on how to do a civil title panel, but for now, just make a note of that. You're welcome, of course, to do more civil title panels to the other papers, but only the first one will be a requirement. Then the drawing must provide clear evidence that a high level of competency. Remember, we're finishing off our schooling career here, and you guys are going to be future architects, engineers. You need to show a high level of competency, grade 12 standard, had been attained in the following required drawing methods. Instrument drawing. For this discussion, we're not going to do CAD, we're just doing instrument drawings, and you need to show there a good standard, a high level of competency. Okay, so for this discussion, I'm not going to look at CAD drawings, although some schools might offer that. For the sake of my viewers, we're going to give that a skip today. What we are going to just focus on here is that the title panel and all working drawings must comply with SANS 10143 guidelines. Okay, and I maybe have to put a link here in the description to that SANS, but it's basically to ensure that all your hatching, your fixtures, drawing methods, etc. complies with SANS. Okay, so let's look at this. The first one, 5.1, important here. Draw to a suitable scale detailed layout drawings of the selected freehand solution of the complete house. Ladies and gentlemen, here a suitable scale will be 1 to 100. I'm confident that that will fit onto your page, and so try and use that as your suitable scale. Detailed layout drawing, that's your floor plan, of course, of the selected freehand solution of the complete house. This needs to include the silo, the veranda, and the carport, clearly showing all the required building features. Again, building features, that's going to be the windows, the doors, etc., the fixtures that you're going to be using. The layout drawing must show the following 4 orthographic views. Now, here's going to be a little bit of a change here. you need to do a floor plan. Then you need to do a sectional elevation, all right, showing the detail of a door, window, and the wooden veranda. So when you place your cutting plane, that's going to be important that that cutting plane cuts through a door, a window, and a wooden veranda. And then instead of two elevations, which was always the requirement, you only now need to do one elevation showing the north facing side. Okay, so in the past you had to do elevations, two elevations, north plus west, east. That's no longer a requirement due to the lockdown of 2020, which was also the start of this channel. So it's only one elevation and the north. So you really have three drawings. You have the floor plan here, you have a sectional elevation, which is with a cutting plane, and 5.1.3 is only one more elevation showing the north facing side. Okay, that's going to be important. So there's a little bit less drawing for you guys to do. Right, what you need to include in all relevant views. Okay, make a note of these. These are going to be checked. The roof detail of the house must be included. This silo must be included. The veranda as well as the roof lines. Okay, so this is, let's look at the floor plan for instance specifically. The roof detail of the house must be included. So that's a line indicating the outside of that roof detail, the silo, the veranda, as well as the roof lines. Okay, the roof detail of the house. And that's going to be, for instance, in your elevation. All right, make sure your north elevation has these three elements in. Make sure your cutting plane has these elements in. Okay, as part. All permanent fixtures. By now you know that's the toilets, the basins, the built-in cupboards. You need a detailed layout of the entertainment area inside of the silo, so don't miss out on that specific. All electrical fittings and wiring detail. Okay, I'm going to show you a bit more on these, so don't be too worried about it. We're just talking you through this. You have to include a wastewater disposal system, the sewer, titles, labels, and notes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the title is going to be the title of the actual drawing, floor plan, scale, those kind of things, north view. The labels, did you use carpet, tiling, basic notes, all right? Titles, labels, the scale, what scale do you use on these drawings? And again, 1 to 100 should be fine. Maybe on your site plan, which we'll look at, it will look different. Then the detailed dimensioning, and here remember the criteria is that a contractor needs to be able to build this house. So this is detailed dimensioning. You need to be able for the contractor to determine all dimensions on. You can't leave anything up for guessing. You need to include the cutting plane on that floor plan, of course all hatching detail, and your north point. Okay, this is very important, and this will be on the relevant views then, of course. Okay, then you need to draw to a suitable scale a detailed site plan of the project. Let's just quickly look again at that site plan. Here it is. Okay, this is the site plan, and remember you are going to now, of course, include your house, whichever position you've decided, but this is a site plan. This one isn't necessarily according to scale, but you have all the measurements that you can see. Maybe you can't see my highlights here. You can see the different measurements on this plan. Okay, so you'll have to draw that according to scale. I'm thinking 1 to 200 should be fine for that. Okay, let's just get back here to. Alright, so we've done that. We'll look at this site plan also again in detail. On the site plan, include the following: all the given general site details, features of plot 17. Okay, and that is what we've just shown you here. All the different features you can see here, the contour lines, you can see the electrical substation, the decommissioned silos, the gravel access road, the building lines. These are the current elements on this site. the position of both new houses. You need to be able to indicate that the position with the correct measurements, of course. You need to show the measurements. All driveways and the landscaping layout, that's your contour lines. All sewer detail, which you will have to design. Your electrical supplies indicated, your scale, dimensions, including setting out dimensions and corner heights. Again, what is the setting out dimensions and corner heights? That's for the contractor, again, to know the position of the houses that you've designed. Okay, so you need to show that what's the distance from the building lines or from the boundary line to your homes to get those dimensions correct, and then the north point. Okay, and then the good news here, 5.3 has been eliminated. That was your 2-point perspective drawing, which is no longer a requirement. Okay, and then just as a note here, and please listen up carefully, in the past you would have used a copy of this perspective drawing as the cover page for your pad portfolio. Alright, for the sake of this video and for my learners, please make sure in this case for your cover page of your pad portfolio you make use of your elevation here. Okay, this north facing side, your most beautiful side of your home, make sure that's facing north, and that is then going to be used, a copy of that is going to be used for the cover of your pad. Alright, let's look at a bit more detail on the breakdown of where we're going to give your marks. Okay, here we are at your assessment criteria and checklist for the 2020 EGD Civil PAT. Now, in the previous videos, of course, we've gone through a discussion of the design brief, the research, we did the freehand drawings of 2 possible design solutions, and we've done the selecting. Alright, now we're getting to our phase 2 here, and it's a layout drawings and pictorial drawing of a selected solution. Now, remember again, just here, this pictorial drawing is no longer requirement, so we'll look at it. Okay, drawing sheet preparation. There we go. Appropriate size drawing sheets. Did you use A3? You're going to get your 1 year. No questions asked. Did you do correct borders on all the drawing sheets of all the working drawings? Yes, you're going to get 2 out of 2. Did you do a complete SANS 10143 compliant civil title panel on the first working drawing sheet? Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you fully comply with SANS 10143 in that title panel, we cannot but give you 3. Can you see how easy it's going to be to get a 10 for this section? There's actually a rubric here I'll see if we can get to that in a moment. But the fact of the matter is, it's quite straightforward for you to get your papers prepared. The correct borders on all drawing sheets, that's going to be a basic border, 10mm border around the edges with your name, your page number, and the correct labeling of that drawing. In other words, let's look at okay, 5.1, that's going to be your floor plan. So remember, on this first compliant civil title panel, the floor plan number is going to be 5.1. You need to keep this numbering all the way through. Okay, so make sure your pages are numbered exactly like it's specified here on the side. Okay, the selecting of the best freehand drawing, that must be number 4. Okay, doesn't have to be page number 4, but it should be numbered as number 4. The 3.1 will be your first 2-point freehand solution. 3.2 will be your second freehand. Okay, so when we get to the floor plan, it's going to be number 5.1.1. It's going to be your floor plan, and it's going to have a detailed SANS 1.143 civil title panel. Alright, and this is where the marks is going to come from. Does it correlate with the selected freehand solution and selection process summary? So you've selected your final freehand solution, and does this floor plan actually look like the one selected? And if you did make any changes in the selection process summary, is that included? And that's going to give you a 1. Okay. Did you have all internal and external walls, including all hatching detail and roof lines? If you say yes to both of these, you're going to get a 2. Let's say, for instance, you've done all the internal external walls, but you've not included the hatching detail, or you might not have included the roof lines, you're going to get a 1 here. And if you haven't, of course, maybe you've done all the external walls, but no internal walls, you can't get the 2 here. So you can end up with a 0. Then do you do all the doors and windows? Are they clearly indicated on your floor plan? Correctly indicated? Again, 2. Maybe you do them, but you don't indicate them correctly. Then that's going to be a 1. So make sure you do that correctly. All permanent fixtures. That's going to be, you know it, the baths, the built-in cupboards, etc. Maybe you haven't done the built-in cupboards, but you just done the toilets, the bathrooms. You're going to get a 1 here. Okay. If you do all of them and you do them correctly, you're getting a 2. Detailed layout of the entertainment area inside the silo. Okay, so just the layout of the entertainment area. Maybe you just show 1 or 2 seats. You're going to getting a 1. But if you have a detailed layout, you know, showing maybe the bar area, seating, the braai area, etc., you can get your 2 there. All electrical fittings and wiring detail, if that's included, you're going to get a 2. Wastewater disposal system, sewage, and this needs to be on the floor plan. That's why this line is here. Okay, you need to show us on the floor plan your wastewater. That's your inspection eyes, your drains, those kind of things coming out of your bathrooms, etc. All right, and now it gets to your sewer. Title, labels and notes, that's going to count 2. Detailed dimensions, another 2. So there's a good 4 marks up for grabs just on how you label, title, notes, etc. All right, have a look at that. And then your suitable scale, selected and correctly indicated. So that's going to be your 1 to 100. Have you indicated it correctly? That's going to be 1. Do you have a cutting plane? That just drawing that cutting plane is another 1 mark. Your north point, another 1 mark. There's your 3, and that gives you a total of 20. Divided by 2 gives you a mark out of 10. Okay, that's your floor plan discussion. Please don't miss out on that. Let's look at your sectional elevation, and this is going to be numbered 5.1.2, and it needs to show section correct according to the indicated cutting plane. So decide carefully where you place your cutting plane, and remember it needs to go through a door, a window, and what else? Veranda, I believe. All right, then the foundation. Have you indicated the foundation? Have you indicated your concrete slab there? Do you have wall detail? Does that include the wooden veranda? Yes or no? 2 out of 2. Did you cut through a door? Did you cut through a window? If both of them are a yes and they're drawn correctly, you're getting your 2 marks. Roof detail of the house and the veranda. Okay, so make sure you get that section detail for that roof done correctly. And that's 2. That's going to be including your gutter, your fascia boards, your wall plates. Those are the important things here to remember in your roof detail. Okay. Then your labels and your notes, any labels and notes that's necessary, go for that. Suitable scale, selected and again indicated correctly. And that again 1 to 100 is going to be a good enough. It might be that you can do 1 to 50. Yeah, maybe 1 to 50 should be a better one. Okay, detailed dimension. You see which one fits on your page, all right? Detailed dimensioning. Again, this is important, and that's why it's a hefty 2 marks. All hatching detail done correctly, again 2 marks. All right, 15 divided by 1.5 give you 10 for your sectional elevation. Now, good news here. It's no longer 2 elevations. It is only 1. Remember that? Only 1 elevation showing the north-facing side. We're not going to do 2, only 1. And we let me try and see here if I can. Either west, that is gone, baby. Let's do a strike through here. There we go. And it's also only 1 elevation showing the north facing. So, did you do that view? If yes, that's a 1 for you. External walls and all other external features including veranda and the finished floor level, 2 out of 2. Is there a door and a window detail? And people, with this window detail, please do not forget your, what do you call it? Sorry for that. Windowsill at the bottom, please, that you need to remember. With the roof detail, including the rainwater items, that's your gutter, your downpipes of the house and the veranda. Wastewater disposal system, sewer. So that's just on the outside wall. I'm going to show you an example of that. Piping coming out of the wall, that needs to be included. And then elevation drawn to same scale as the floor plan. So this is going to be 1 to 100 also. And these are 10 marks. Then the site plan. Site correctly drawn and all the given details and features included. In other words, they're asking you, have you copied the site plan as it was given on page 10 in this document? All right. So you have to copy that. All right. And I'm proposing a scale 1 to 200 for this. Then, did you include the complete proposed new houses? And you need to include the outlines of both these mirror houses, please, people. All sewer detail, of course, how you connect these homes to your internal sewer. Then the dimensions, including setting out dimension and corner heights. Okay, and that's so that the contractor knows exactly where to place these homes. And this is important. A lot of learners neglect this, but please make sure you do this adequately so that someone knows exactly where to place this house on the site. And that's another 2 marks. Suitable scale selected, and I'm giving you the mark there. It's scale 1 to 200 and indicate that correctly. Marks, baby, marks, and a north point. All right, that's another one there. Okay, and then the detailed perspective drawing of one house. I've got great news for you. I'm going to just hear the chimes here, cross that out because that is no longer a requirement. Right, so for now, that's it. The detailed site plan has been discussed. Your one elevation showing the north facing side we've talked through. We've looked at your sectional elevation and we've done the floor plan. So this is then a discussion of the different elements. Let's look at some practical examples.
Okay, grade 12s, let's look at an example here of a floor plan done by previous grade 12 learners for their PAT tasks. Now, you'll see a title block on the side. I've just done another video discussing a title block, so have a look at that so that you get yours perfectly right. There's going to be a nice border around it, and your drawing, your floor plan is going to be planned in this area to be in the nice center of that. It's going to have your title, and we're going to look at this in a bit more detail. So what's important is, of course, the dimensioning. You can see here an elaborate number of dimensions, and that's to ensure that this can be built by a contractor. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit here. Okay, let's look at some of the sewer detail. You've got your inspection eyes indicated, your rodding eyes, you've got your door details, your window details, your hatching for your walls, your fixtures, your showers, your toilets, all indicated correctly, your electrical fixtures, your switches, your door numberings, D2 for this door is a D1, okay. They've gone ahead and did some non-permanent fixtures, please, that's not necessary for you. It's clearly labeled, each one of these main hall tiles and the square meters, of course. And then on the outside here, there's our roof line, okay, for the roof design going all around as required, and in the middle down here. Okay, let's look at another example. Okay, this was a different drawing, different construction, but again, detailed measurements, electrical fittings, hatching of the walls, labeled, clearly labeled, and again the roof lines, there's the overhang of the roof shown. But look at the cutting plane. In this case, it went through a window and then it kept straight, and there through a door, and also they also had a similar veranda than you. on the outside. So your cutting plane, when you indicate that, it can be stepped like this to go through the required window and door, etc. Just make a note of that. Again, clearly labeled, and your north arrow on this side. Okay, let's look at one last example here. Very detailed. So you can see from these that the floor plans are going to be quite populated. So take the necessary time when drawing these to ensure it's drawn correctly. Okay, let's look at an elevation. Alright, here you can see example of a sectional elevation done, and we have discussed this earlier, but it's again the foundation detail that's clearly shown, your concrete slabs, your compact filling, your undisturbed soil, any doors and windows visible, any fixtures visible in those cutting planes, your window detail, your door detail here, and then the full roofing detail. Okay, that includes your purlins, your rafters, your ceiling, your wall plates, your overhang, fascia boards, your gutters, downpipes, access to the building. In this case, there was a little bit of a ramp here. You've got your external walls, and your key measurements on the sides. And you can see here they've done a little bit of a downgraded title block because it's only a requirement on the initial one. Right, let's look at another sectional elevation. Okay, here's one that's a little bit less as complex, but again, you've got cutting through a door, you've got an internal wall, you've got your window, you've got any other doors in there. Finished floor level is indicated. You've got your damp proof course, and there's that step, compact fill, again natural ground level. These are all important things to add onto your drawing. And then just the basic heights here on the side, width, and it is labeled correctly. So this is quite a good drawing, and you can get a good mark because all of the elements are included. One thing that I would add here would have been the gutter and the downpipe. Okay, and then our let's look at an elevation or two as an example. Okay, so remember, you just need to do one elevation. We're going to do the north elevation on your house. And in that, everything needs to be included, the veranda, the silo, etc. Now, this was a different design, but just look at some of the elements. They've got their windows in here with their doors, the door frames clearly shown, with your window sills, the opening of the windows, that's going to be important. On the outside, your finishing floor level. And then this is a bathroom area here, so you can see there the sewer pipes coming out of the bathrooms into the inspection eyes, with your main sewer line with a fall. This is the type of detail when they ask for your sewer detail on your elevation. This is what they require here, just to show how from the basin, how does that water get into your sewer. Different heights here. There's your downpipes, your fascia, and your gutters, and clearly labeled. In this year, they had to do more than one elevation. So you can look at that as an example. I'm going to give you one more example. Okay, here's another one, again with the finishing floor levels, damp proof course, those kind, clearly labeled, window openings, double doors, steps, etc. What's missing on this, of course, is your sewer, but I think this example here is sufficient for you to understand what is a requirement there. Okay, last but not least, we're going to look at a couple of site plans. Okay, so the big thing here is to copy your site plan, and this is again an example of a previous year, so yours will look different, but to copy your site plan with as much detail as the one provided for you. And then the new dwellings, do yourselves a favor and just highlight that in red. That shows that you know the fact that new buildings on a site plan is going to be red. Sewer detail, that's going to be brown, so make a note of that and make sure you indicate that correctly. What is missing on this specific one, although they've got quite a few measurements, there's not the setting out measurements, and that would have been measurements from the fence, from the boundary to the home, to kind of determine the placement of this. The builder, there's no way he's going to know exactly where this building is situated. So those setting out measurements are missing on this one. Let's look at one or two other examples. Okay, here's a similar site plan, and you can see here there's a bit more to it, a couple of setting out measurements. So it's possible for us to determine here the position of this new building, although what's missing here is the highlighted red and the brown for your sewer lines, but it's quite clear and understandable for someone wanting to build this. Okay, and our last example of a site plan is this one here. Again, remember with the site plan, it's the basic outline that's required. You don't need any internal walls. Then you've got your sewer connection available, indicate your building lines, the corner heights, those kind of things, the entrance, the road labeling, that all needs to be done correctly. Okay, that's an overview of the basic drawings that needs to be a requirement. Fortunately for you, you're not doing the 2-point perspectives, so you can really nail this one. All the best, and thank you for watching. Cheers.